Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, a little bit late. It's time for Bible Reading Fellowship. It is Tuesday. Is it Tuesday the 27th? Yeah, Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, and we're starting in First Chronicles 27 today, reading out of the Legacy Standard Bible, the LSB. If you do not have your own copy of this translation, you can open up a second tab on your computer and in the search bar type read, R-E-A-D. .lsbible.org, read.lsbible.org. When that page opens up, um, type 1 Chronicles 27 in the search window, 1 Chronicles 27 in the search window. And when that page opens up, hi, Sarah. When that page opens up, you can just follow along as we read. And when we get to the end of the chapter or the bottom of the screen there, just click on the right arrow and that'll move you over to chapter 28. John, good afternoon. Oh, we're actually going to be starting Second Chronicles today. That's good. Not sure how long we're going to read today. Chris, good morning. Got some things I got to do this morning. But we're going to get started here in just a moment. We'll wait and see if a couple more of the regulars log in. I assume a notification went out to you folks who are in the chat room. Yes. Big John, good morning, sir. Peter, good morning. Maria, good morning. Yeah, it's going to be, I think we got into the mid 70s yesterday. I actually went fishing for a little bit yesterday, caught a few bass, but it was real windy, so I was only out a couple of hours. But yeah, it's going to be another beautiful day today. And then tomorrow we drop to about 30 degrees. So. Don't. Hang on just a second. Maria, do you want me to, are those books need to go back? Do you want me to do it? Oh my gosh. Do you want me to do it? Is it just a drive-through fair? Right, and I just put them all in the slot? Yeah. Yes, I'll take care of it. All right. Amanda, Dad's going to take back the library books for you. Okay. I'm back. Yes, Maria, yesterday it was catch and release. I'm sorry, did I totally mess you up there? No. I just heard you struggling with the bag of books. Sorry, guys. I just saw you struggling with the bag of books, saying goodbye to my wife. Matt. All right. Well, yeah, I'm not sure what today holds. I'm going to be working on filling that jig order. Um, Someone ordered 50 of my hand tied jigs, so I tied a few of them before I logged on, and going to tie a bunch more today. Had to order some supplies, and so we'll see. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, folks. We're going to pick up our reading in First Chronicles 27. First Chronicles 27. Again, reading out of the Legacy Standard Bible. We'll begin with reading Spurgeon's devotion for the 27th. And so let's begin our time in order of prayer, and we'll get started. Father in heaven, you're so good, so kind, so true, perfectly true to yourself and perfectly honest and true to us. Your word is true. Your promises for blessing and promises for cursing, they are all true. Your promises to bless your children, your promises to discipline your children, they're all true. Every word that proceeds from your mouth, every word you've given us in your word is true. Father, I pray that we would believe it, that we would take you at your word, that we would not only see your word is true and announce that it is true, but that we would believe in our hearts and our minds that your word is true, and that we would love you. Father, help us, Lord, to trust in you with all of our heart and lean not on our own understanding. Help us, Father, in all our ways to acknowledge you, and you will make our path straight. Help us, Father, to fear you and nothing else, and to turn away from evil. You promise us, Father, that it will be healing to our bodies, healing to our bones, healings to our minds as well. I pray, Father, that you would use the reading of your word this morning to bring yourself glory and to minister to us, your people. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Evan, good morning. All right, Spurgeon's devotion for this morning is drawn from Psalm 91:9. Thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Spurgeon writes, the Israelites in the wilderness are continually exposed to change. Whenever the pillar stayed its motion, the tents were pitched. But tomorrow, ere the morning sun had risen, the trumpet sounded, the ark was in motion, and the fiery, cloudy pillar was leading the way through the narrow defiles of the mountain, up the hillside, or along the arid waste of the wilderness. They had scarcely time to rest. A little before they heard the sound of away. This is not your rest. You must still be onward, journeying towards Canaan. They were never long in one place. Even wells and palm trees could not detain them. Yet they had an abiding home in their God. His cloudy pillar was their roof tree, and its flame by night their household fire. They must go onward from place to place, continually changing, never having time to settle and to say, now we are secure. In this place we shall dwell. Yet, says Moses, though we are always changing, Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place throughout all generations. The Christian knows no change with regard to God. He may be rich today and poor tomorrow. He may be sickly today. Tomorrow he may be distressed. But there is no change with regard to his relationship to God. If he loved me yesterday, he loves me today. My unmoving mansion of rest is my blessed Lord. Let prospects be blighted. Let hopes be blasted. Let joy be withered. Let mildews destroy everything. I have lost nothing of what I have in God. He is my strong habitation, whereunto I can continually resort. I am a pilgrim in the world, but at home in my God. In the earth I wander, but in God I dwell in quiet habitation. Amen. All right, First Chronicles chapter 27. Again, if anyone out there is new with us, we're reading out of the Legacy Standard Bible. God's word tells us this. Now, this is the total count of the sons of Israel, the heads of fathers' households, the commanders of thousands and of hundreds, and their officers who minister to the king in each matter of the divisions which came in and went out month by month throughout all the months of the year, each division numbering 24,000. Jashobeam, the son of Zabdiel, was over the first division for the first month, and in his division were 24,000. He was from the sons of Perez, and was chief of all the commanders of the army for the first month. Dodai, the Ahohite, bye, Annie. Dodai, the Ahohite, and his division were over the division for the second month. Mikloth, being the chief officer, and in his division were 24,000. The third commander of the army for the third month was Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada the priest, as chief, and in his division were 24,000. This Benaiah was the mighty man of the 30, and was over 30, and over his division was Amizabad, his son. The fourth, for the fourth month, was Asahel, the brother of Joab, and Zebediah, his son, after him. And in his division were 24,000. The fifth, for the fifth month, was commander Shamhuth, the Israelite, and his division were 24,000. The sixth, for the sixth month, was Ira, the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite, and in his division were 24,000. The seventh, for the seventh month, was Helez, the Pelonite of the sons of Ephraim, and in his division were 24,000. The eighth, for the eighth month, was Sibbecai, the Hushathite of the Zerahites, and in his division were 24,000. The ninth, for the ninth month, was Ebiezer, the Anathathite of the Benjamites, and in his division were 24,000. The 10th, for the 10th month, was Maharai, the Netophathite of the Zerahites, and in his division were 24,000. The 11th, for the 11th month, was Benaiah, the Pirathonite of the sons of Ephraim, and in his division were 24,000. The 12th, for the 12th month, was Heldai, the Netophathite of Othniel, and in his division were 24,000. Now, those over the tribes of Israel, chief officers for the Reubenites, was Eleazar, the son of Zikri; for the Simeonites, Shephatiah, the son of Maacah; for Levi, Hashabiah, the son of Kemuel; for Aaron, Zadok; for Judah, Elihu, one of David's brothers; for Issachar, Omri, the son of Michael; for Zebulun, Ishmaiah, the son of Obadiah; for Naphtali, Jeremoth, the son of Azriel; for the sons of Ephraim, Hoshea, the son of Azaziah; for the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel, the son of Pedaiah; for the half-tribe of Manasseh, Gilead, Edo, the son of Zechariah; for Benjamin, Jaasiel, the son of Abner; for Dan, Azarel, the son of Jeroham. These were the princes of the tribes of Israel. But David did not take up a count of those 20 years of age and under, because Yahweh had said he would multiply Israel as the stars of heaven. Joab, the son of Zeruiah, had begun to number them, but did not finish. And because of this, wrath came upon Israel, and this count was not included in the total count of the Chronicles of King David. Then Asmaveth, the son of Adiel, was over the king's storehouses, and Jonathan, the son of Uzziah, was over the storehouses in the country, and the cities, and the villages, and in the towers. Ezri, the son of Chelub, was over the workers of the field, who cultivated the soil. Shimei, the Ramathite, was over the vineyards, and Zabdi, the Shifmite, was over the produce of the vineyards stored in the wine cellars. Baal-Hanan, the Gederite, was over the olive and sycamore trees in the Shephelah, and Joash had charge of the stores of oil. Shitrai, the Sharonite, was over the cattle which was grazing in Sharon, and Shaphat, the son of Adlai, was over the cattle in the valleys. Abiel, the Ishmaelite, was over the camels, and Jehediah, the Meronothite, was over the donkeys. Jaziz, the Hagarite, was over the flocks. All these were officials over the possessions which belonged to King David. Also, Jonathan, David's uncle, was a counselor, a man of understanding, and a scribe, and Jehiel, the son of Hachmoni, was with the king's sons. Ahithophel was counselor to the king, and Hushai the Archite was the king's friend. Jehoiada, the son of Benaiah, and Abiathar succeeded Ahithophel, and Joab was the commander of the king's army. Chapter 28. And David assembled at Jerusalem all the commanders of Israel, the commanders of the tribes, and the commanders of the divisions that ministered to the king, and the commanders of thousands, the commanders of hundreds, and the commanders over all the property and livestock belonging to the king and his sons, with the officials and the mighty men, even all the mighty men of valor. Then King David rose to his feet and said, "Listen to me, my brothers and my people. I had it within my heart to build a house of rest for the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and for the footstool of the feet of our God. So I had made preparations to build it. But God said to me, "You shall not build a house for my name, because you are a man of war and have shed blood." Yet Yahweh, the God of Israel, chose me from all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. For he has chosen Judah to be a ruler in the house of Judah, my father's house, and among the sons of my father he took pleasure in me to make me king over all Israel. Now of all my sons, for Yahweh has given me many sons, he has chosen my son Solomon to sit on the throne of the kingdom of Yahweh over Israel. And he said to me, "Your son Solomon is the one who shall build my house and my courts. For I have chosen him to be a son to me, and I will be a father to him. And I will establish his kingdom forever, if he will be strong to do my commandments and my judgments, as is done now." So now, in the sight of all Israel, the assembly of Yahweh, and the hearing of our God, keep and seek after all the commandments of Yahweh your God, so that you may possess the good land and cause your sons after you to inherit it forever. As for you, my son Solomon, know the God of your father, and serve him with a whole heart and a delighted soul. For Yahweh searches all hearts and understands every intent of the thoughts. If you seek him, he will be found, but if you forsake him, he will reject you forever. See now, for Yahweh has chosen you to build a house for the sanctuary. Be strong and act. Then David gave to his son Solomon the pattern of the porch of the temple, its building, its storehouses, its upper rooms, its inner rooms, and the room for the mercy seat, and the pattern of all that he had in mind for the courts of the houses of Yahweh, and for all the surrounding chambers, for the treasuries of the house of God, and for the treasuries of the holy things, also for the divisions of the priests and the Levites, and for all the work of the service of the house of Yahweh, and for all the utensils of service in the house of Yahweh, for the golden utensils, the weight of gold for all utensils for every kind of service, for the silver utensils, the weight of silver for all the utensils for every kind of service, and the weight of gold for the golden lampstand and their golden lamps, with the weight of each lampstand and its lamps, and the weight of silver for the silver lampstands, with the weight of each lampstand and its lamps according to the service of each lampstand, and the gold by weight for the tables of showbread for each table, and silver for the silver tables, and the flesh hooks, the bowls, and the jars of pure gold, and for the golden bowls with the weight for each bowl, and for the silver bowls with the weight for each bowl, and for the altar of incense refined gold by weight, and gold for the pattern of the chariot, even the cherubim that spread out their wings and covered the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. All this, said David, has been granted to me as insight in writing by the hand of Yahweh all the details of this pattern. Then David said to his son Solomon, "Be strong and courageous and act. Do not fear nor be dismayed, for Yahweh God, my God, is with you. He will not fail you nor forsake you until all the work for the service of the house of Yahweh is completed. Now behold, there are the divisions of the priests and the Levites for all the service of the house of God, and every willing man with wisdom will be with you in all the work for all the service. The officials also and all the people will be entirely at your command." Chapter 29. Then King David said to the entire assembly, "My son Solomon, whom alone God has chosen, is still young and inexperienced, and the work is great, for the temple is not for man, but for Yahweh God. Now, with all my power, I have prepared for the house of my God the gold for the things of gold, and the silver for the things of silver, and the bronze for the things of bronze, the iron for the things of iron, and wood for the things of wood, onyx stones and inlaid stones, stones of antimony, and stones of various colors, and all kinds of precious stones, and alabaster in abundance. Moreover, in my pleasure in the house of my God, the treasure I have of gold and silver I give to the house of my God over and above all that I have already prepared for the holy house, namely 3,000 talents of gold, of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver, to overlay the walls of the buildings, of gold for the things of gold, and of silver for the things of silver. This is for all the work done by the hand of craftsmen, who then would offer willingly to ordain himself this day to Yahweh. Then the commanders of the fathers' households, and the commanders of the tribes of Israel, and the commanders of the thousands and of hundreds, with the commanders of the king's work, offered willingly. And for the service for the house of God, they gave 5,000 talents, and 10,000 derricks of gold, and 10,000 talents of silver, and 18,000 talents of brass, and 100,000 talents of iron. And whoever possessed precious stones gave them to the treasury of the house of Yahweh in the care of Jehiel the Gershonite. And the people were glad because they had offered so willingly, for they made their freewill offering to Yahweh with a whole heart. And King David also was exceedingly glad. So David blessed Yahweh in the sight of all the assembly, and David said, Blessed are you, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, our Father, from everlasting to everlasting. Yours, O Yahweh, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty, indeed everything that is in the heavens and the earth. Yours is the kingdom, O Yahweh, and you exalt yourself as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you rule over all. And in your hand is power and might, and it lies in your hand to make great and to strengthen everyone. So now, our God, we are thanking you and praising your glorious name. But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to offer as willingly as this? For all things come from you, and from your hand we have given you. For we are sojourners before you and foreign residents, like all our fathers were. Our days on the earth are like a shadow, and there is no hope. O Yahweh our God, all this abundance that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name. It is from your hand, and all is yours. And I know, O my God, that you try the heart and delight in uprightness. I, in the uprightness of my heart, have willingly offered all these things. So now, with gladness, I have seen your people who are present here make their offerings willingly to you. O Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers, keep this forever in the intentions of the heart of your people and prepare their heart to you. And give to my son Solomon a whole heart to keep your commandments, your testimonies, and your statutes, and to do them all, and to build the temple for which I have made preparation. Then David said to all the assembly, Now bless Yahweh your God, and all the assembly blessed Yahweh, the God of their fathers, and bowed low and prostrated themselves to Yahweh and to the king. And on the next day they made sacrifices to Yahweh and offered burnt offerings to Yahweh, 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 lambs, with their drink offerings and sacrifices in abundance for all Israel. So they ate and drank that day before Yahweh with great gladness. They made Solomon the son of David king a second time, and they anointed him as ruler for Yahweh and Zadok as priest. Then Solomon sat on the throne of Yahweh as king instead of David his father, and he succeeded, and all Israel obeyed him. And all the officials, the mighty men, and all the sons of King David pledged allegiance to King Solomon. And Yahweh highly exalted Solomon in the sight of all Israel, and granted to him royal majesty, which had not been on any king before him in Israel. Now David the son of Jesse reigned over all Israel. And the time which he reigned over Israel was 40 years. In Hebron he reigned 7 years, and in Jerusalem 33 years. Then he died in a good old age, full of days, riches, and glory, and his son Solomon became king in his place. Now the acts of King David from first to the last, behold, they are written in the chronicles of Samuel the seer, in the chronicles of Nathan the prophet, and in the chronicles of Gad the seer, with all his reign, his might, and the circumstances which came on him, on Israel, and on all the kingdoms of the land. Second Chronicles chapter 1. Now Solomon, the son of David, strengthened himself over his kingdom. And Yahweh his God was with him and highly exalted him. And Solomon spoke to all Israel, to the commanders of thousands and of hundreds, and to the judges, and to every leader in all Israel, the heads of the fathers' households. Then Solomon and all the assembly with him went to the high place, which was at Gibeon, for God's tent of meeting was there, which Moses, the servant of Yahweh, had made in the wilderness. However, David had brought up the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim to the place he had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it in Jerusalem. Now the bronze altar, which Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made, was there before the tabernacle of Yahweh, and Solomon and the assembly sought it out. And Solomon went up there before Yahweh to the bronze altar, which was at the tent of meeting, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings on it. And in the night, God appeared to Solomon and said to him, Ask what I should give to you. Then Solomon said to God, You have shown great loving kindness to my father David, and have made me king in his place. Now, O Yahweh God, let your promise to my father David endure, for you have made me king over a people as numerous as the dust of the earth. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can do justice for this great people of yours? And God said to Solomon, Because you had this in your heart, and did not ask for riches, wealth, or glory, or the life of those who hate you, nor have you even asked for long life, but you have asked for yourself wisdom and knowledge, that you may do justice, for my people over whom I have made you king. Wisdom and knowledge have been given you, and I will give you riches and wealth and glory, such as none of the kings who were before you had, nor those who will come after you. So Solomon went from the high place, which was at Gibeon, from the tent of meeting to Jerusalem, and he reigned over Israel. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, and he stationed them in the chariot cities and with the king in Jerusalem. The king also made silver and gold as plentiful as stones in Jerusalem. And he made cedars as plentiful as sycamore trees that are in the Shephelah. Solomon's import of horses was from Egypt and from Kew. The king's merchants procured them from Kew for a price. And they imported a chariot from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver and a horse for 150. And by the same means, they exported them to all the kings of the Hittites and the kings of Aram. Chapter 2. Then Solomon decided to build a house for the name of Yahweh and a royal palace for himself. So Solomon numbered 70,000 men to carry loads and 80,000 men to hew stones in the mountains and 3,600 to direct them. Then Solomon sent word to Huram, the king of Tyre, saying, As you dealt with David, my father, and sent him cedars to build him a house to live in, so do for me. Behold, I am about to build a house for the name of Yahweh my God, setting it apart to him as holy, to burn fragrant incense before him, and to set out the showbread continually, and to offer burnt offerings morning and evening on Sabbaths and on new moons and on the appointed feasts of Yahweh our God, this being required forever in Israel. Now the house which I am about to build will be great, for greater is our God than all the gods. But who is able to build a house for him? For the heavens and the highest heavens cannot contain him. So who am I, that I should build a house for him, except to burn incense before him? So now send me a wise man to work in gold, silver, brass, and iron, and in purple, crimson, and blue fabrics, and who knows how to make engravings to work with the wise men whom I have in Judah and Jerusalem, whom David my father prepared. Send me also cedar, cypress, and algum timber from Lebanon. For I know that your servants know how to cut timber of Lebanon. And behold, my servants will work with your servants to prepare timber in abundance for me, for the house which I am about to build will be great and wonderful. And behold, I will give to your servants, the woodsmen who cut the timber, 20,000 cores of crushed wheat and 20,000 cores of barley, and 20,000 baths of wine and 20,000 baths of oil. Then Huram, king of Tyre, said in a letter sent to Solomon, Because Yahweh loves his people, he has given you to be king over them. Then Huram said, Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Israel, who has made heaven and earth, who has given King David a wise son, knowledgeable in insight and understanding, who will build a house for Yahweh and a royal palace for himself. So now I am sending Huram Abi, a wise man who is knowledgeable in understanding, the son of a Danite woman and a Tyrian father, who knows how to work in gold, silver, bronze, iron, stone, and wood, and in purple, blue, linen, and crimson fabrics, and who knows how to make all kinds of engravings, and to devise any design which may be given to him to work with your wise men and with the wise men of my lord David your father. So now let my lord send to his servants wheat and barley, oil and wine, of which he has spoken. And we will cut whatever timber you need from Lebanon and bring it to you on rafts to sea to Joppa, so that you may carry it up to Jerusalem. Then Solomon numbered all the sojourners who were in the land of Israel, following the census which his father David had taken, and 153,600 were found. And he made 70,000 of them to carry loads, and 80,000 as hewers of stone in the mountains, and 3,600 directors to make the people work. Chapter 3. And then Solomon began to build the house of Yahweh in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where Yahweh had appeared to his father David, at the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Then he began to build on the second day in the second month of the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the foundations which Solomon laid for building the house of God. The length in cubits, according to the old standard, was 60 cubits, and the width 20 cubits. And the porch which was in front of the house was as long as the width of the house, 20 cubits, and the height 120. And inside he overlaid it with pure gold. Now he overlaid the main room with cypress wood and overlaid it with fine gold and ornamented it with palm trees and chains. Further, he overlaid the house with precious stones for beauty, and the gold was gold from Parvaim. He also covered the house with gold, the beams, the thresholds, and its walls and its doors. And he carved cherubim on the walls. And he made the room of the Holy of Holies. Its length across the width of the house was 20 cubits, and its width was 20 cubits. And he covered it with fine gold, amounting to 60 talents. Now the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. He also covered the upper rooms with gold. Then in the room of the Holy of Holies, he made two cherubim of fashioned work and overlaid them with gold. Now the wingspan of the cherubim was 20 cubits. The wing of one of 5 cubits touched the wall of the house, and its other wing of 5 cubits touched the wing of the other cherub. And the wing of the other cherub of 5 cubits touched the wall of the house, and its other wing of 5 cubits was attached to the wing of the first cherub. The wings of these cherubim extended 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet facing the main room. And he made the veil of blue, purple, crimson, and fine linen, and he ornamented cherubim on it. He also made two pillars for the front of the house, 35 cubits high, and the capital on the top of each was 5 cubits. And he made chains in the inner sanctuary and put them on the top of the pillars. And he made 100 pomegranates and put them on the chains. Thus he set up the pillars in front of the temple, one on the right and one on the left, and named the one on the right Jachin and the one on the left Boaz. Chapter 4. Then he made a bronze altar 20 cubits in length and 20 cubits in width and 10 cubits in height. And he made the sea of cast metal 10 cubits from brim to brim, circular in form, and its height was 5 cubits and 30 cubits in its circumference. Now figures like oxen were under it and encircling it, 10 cubits entirely encircling the sea. The oxen were in 2 rows, cast in one piece. It stood on 12 oxen, 3 facing the north, 3 facing west, 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. And the sea was set on top of them, and all their rear parts turned inward. And it was a handbreadth thick, and its brim was made like the brim of a cup, as a lily blossom. It could hold 3,000 baths. He also made 10 lavers and set 5 on the right side and 5 on the left, in which to wash things, that is, in which they would rinse things for the burnt offering. But the sea was for the priest to wash in. Then he made the 10 golden lampstands and in the way prescribed for them, and he put them in the temple, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left. And he made 10 tables and placed them in the temple, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left. And he made 100 golden bowls. Then he made the court of the priests and the great court, and doors for the court, and overlaid their doors with bronze. And he put the sea on the right side of the house toward the southeast. And Huram made the pots and the shovels and the bowls. So Huram completed doing the work, which he did for King Solomon in the house of God. The 2 pillars and the 2 bowls and the 2 capitals on the top of the pillars, and the 2 networks to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals which were on top of the pillars, and the 400 pomegranates for the 2 networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals which were on the pillars. He also made the stands, and he made the lavers on the stands and on the sea, which the 12 oxen with the 12 oxen under it, and the pots and the shovels and the flesh hooks and all its utensils, Huram-Abi made of polished bronze for King Solomon for the house of Yahweh. On the plain of the Jordan, the king cast them in the clay ground between Succoth and Zeradah. Thus Solomon made all these utensils in great quantities, for the weight of the bronze could not be found. Solomon also made all the furniture which was in the house of God, even the golden altar and the tables with the bread of the presence on them, and the lampstands with their lamps of pure gold to burn in front of the inner sanctuary in the way prescribed, and the flowers and the lamps and the tongs of gold of purest gold, and the snuffers and the bowls and the spoons and the fire pans of pure gold, and the entrance of the house, its inner doors for the Holy of Holies, and the doors of the house, that is, of the nave of gold. Chapter 5. Thus all the work that Solomon did for the house of Yahweh was finished. And Solomon brought in the things set apart as holy by his father David, even the silver and the gold and all the utensils, and he put them in the treasuries of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the leaders of the fathers' households of the sons of Israel, to Jerusalem to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves to the king at the feast, that is, in the 7th month. Then all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites carried the ark, and they brought up the ark in the tent of meeting, and all the holy utensils which were in the tent. The Levitical priests brought them up, and King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel, who congregated with him before the ark, were sacrificing so many sheep and oxen that they could not be counted or numbered. Then the priests brought the ark of the covenant of Yahweh to its place, into the inner sanctuary of the house, to the Holy of Holies, under the wings of the cherubim. And the cherubim spread their wings over the place of the ark. And the cherubim made a covering of the ark and its poles from above. But the poles were so long that the ends of the poles of the ark could be seen before the inner sanctuary, but they could not be seen outside. And they are there to this day. There was nothing in the ark except the two tablets which Moses put there at Horeb, where Yahweh cut a covenant with the sons of Israel when they came out of Egypt. Now it happened that when the priests came out of the holy place, for all the priests who were present had sanctified themselves with regard to divisions, and all the Levitical singers, Asaph, Heman, Jeduthun, and their sons and relatives, clothed in fine linen. Hi, Roxy. I think my dog is asking to go out. Asaph, Heman, Jeduthun, and their sons and relatives, clothed in fine linen, with cymbals, harps, and lyres, standing east of the altar, and with them 120 priests blowing trumpets, in unison when the trumpeters and the singers were to make themselves heard with one voice, to praise and to give thanks to Yahweh. And when they lifted up their voice, accompanied by trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music, and when they praised Yahweh, saying, He indeed is good, for his loving kindness endures forever, then the house of Yahweh, was filled with a cloud, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud. For the glory of Yahweh filled the house of God. Where'd you go? Hey, come here. What time is it? Okay. All right, we will read chapter 6 and we'll finish here. That'll be 9 chapters today. Yeah, I didn't get it, Evan. I have not seen your email. Are you sending it to the right email address? All right. All right, chapter 6. We'll finish here. That'll be 9 chapters for today. Praise the Lord. Then Solomon said, Yahweh said that he would dwell in the cloud of dense gloom. Now I have built you a lofty house and a place for your dwelling forever. Then the king turned his face around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and has fulfilled it by his hands, saying, Since the day that I brought my people from the land of Egypt, I did not choose a city out of all the tribes of Israel, in which to build a house, that my name might be there, nor did I choose any man for a ruler over my people Israel. But I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel. But Yahweh said to my father David, Because it was in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Nevertheless, you should not build the house, but your son, who will come forth from your loins, he shall build the house for my name. And Yahweh has established his word, which he spoke, and I have been established in place of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahweh promised, and have built the house for the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel. And there I have set the ark, in which is the covenant of Yahweh, which he cut with his sons of Israel. Then he stood before the altar of Yahweh, before all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands. Now Solomon had made a bronze platform, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide, 3 cubits high, and he put it in the midst of the court, and he stood on it, knelt on his knees in the presence of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward heaven. And he said, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven or on earth, keeping covenant and loving kindness to your slaves who walk before you with all their heart, who have kept with your servant David, my father, that which you have promised him. Indeed, you have promised with your mouth and have fulfilled it by your hand, as it is this day. So now, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, keep with your servant David, my father, that which you have promised him, saying, You shall not have a man cut off from before me, who is to sit on the throne of Israel, if only your sons keep their way to walk in my law as you have walked before me. So now, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, let your word truly endure, which you have spoken to your servant David. But will God truly dwell with mankind on the earth? Behold, heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet have regard to the prayer of your slave, and to his supplication, O Yahweh my God, to listen to the cry and to the prayer which your slave prays before you, that your eyes may be open toward this house day and night, toward the place of which you have said that you would place your name there, to listen to the prayer which your slave shall pray toward this place, and listen to the supplications of your slave and of your people Israel, when they pray toward this place. Listen from your dwelling place from heaven, listen and forgive. If a man sins against his neighbor and is made to take an oath, and he comes and takes an oath before your altar in this house, then listen from heaven and act and judge your slaves, punishing the wicked by bringing his way on his own head, and justifying the righteous by bringing his reward according to his righteousness. And if your people Israel are defeated before an enemy because they have sinned against you, and they turn to you and confess your name and pray and make supplication before you in this house, then listen from heaven and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land which you have given to them and to their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they have sinned against you, and they pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin when you afflict them, then listen in heaven and forgive the sin of your slaves and of your people Israel. Indeed, teach them the good way in which they should walk, and give rain on your land, which you have given to your people for an inheritance. If there is famine in the land, if there is pestilence, if there is scorching wind or mildew, if there is locust or grasshopper, if their enemies besiege them in the land of their cities, whatever plague or whatever sickness there is, whatever prayer or supplication is made by any man or by all your people Israel, who know his own affliction and his own pain, and spread his hands toward this house, and listen from heaven, your dwelling place, and forgive, and give to each according to all his ways, whose heart you know, for you alone know the hearts of the sons of men, that they may fear you, to walk in your ways all the days they live upon the face of the land which you have given to their fathers. Also concerning the foreigner who is not of your people Israel, if he comes from a far country, for your great name's sake and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, so if they come and pray toward this house, then listen from heaven, from your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you, in order that all the people of the earth may know your name, even to fear you, as do your people Israel, and to know that your name is called upon this house which I have built, when your people go out to battle against their enemies, by whatever way you shall send them. And they prayed to you toward this city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name. Something's bugging Roxy upstairs. Then listen from heaven to their prayer and their supplication, and do justice. When they sin against you, for there is no man who does not sin, and you are angry with them and give them over to an enemy, so that they take them away captive to a land far off or near. And if they cause these things to return to their heart in the land which they have been taken captive, and return and make supplication to you in the land of their captivity, saying, We have sinned, we have committed iniquity, and have acted wickedly. And if they return to you with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity, where they have been taken captive, and pray toward their land which you have given to their fathers, and the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then listen from heaven, from your dwelling place, to their prayer and supplications, and do justice for them, and forgive your people who have sinned against you. Now, O my God, I pray, let your eyes be open and your ears attentive to the prayer offered in this place. So now arise, O Yahweh God, to your resting place, you in the ark of your strength. Let your priests, O Yahweh God, be clothed with salvation, and let your holy ones be glad in what is good. O Yahweh God, do not turn away the face of your anointed. Remember your loving kindness to your servant David. All right. We're going to stop there. Lord willing, we will pick up tomorrow morning at our regular time, 7 a.m. Central, in chapter 7 of 2 Chronicles. 9 chapters today, a good read. All right. I love you guys. Hope you have a blessed day in the Lord. I'll see you tomorrow morning for another edition of Bible Reading Fellowship. Bye bye.